Well, friends, once again, it is time to head out. We're going camping.
Concentrate! You ain't trying. Concentrate. I am concentrating, but nothing's happening.
This time we were heading out to Franklin Delano Roosevelt State Park in the state of Georgia. Total travel time on this trip would end up being a little over 2 hours, so not too far. It would take us down Highway 431 through Wedowee, and then on down we would cut over to the state of Georgia and down through LaGrange to find our way down just southeast of Pine Mountain, Georgia.
Where is everybody?
Coming in on Thursday afternoon, of course, you have a lot fewer people. You might be catching people at the end of their vacation or however their week is working out, but it was a good time for us to get checked in. You leave the Welcome Center and go directly across into the State Park campground area, and I should say you go down into the campground area. It is quite a hill, and to either walk or ride would be quite an adventure. Now, FDR State Park has about 9,974 acres, 2 lakes. You have one there in the campground, 21 cottages, 115 tent, trailer, and RV campsites. There are a lot of hiking trails there. In fact, they say there are more than 40 miles of hiking trails. Pine Mountain Trail, I think, is about 23 miles long and winds through the woods of Georgia. It is a pretty park. Hiking is the thing, though. There are not a lot of bicycle. There are, in fact, no bicycle paths, no mountain biking, that kind of stuff in the park, at least that I could find. Of course, you can ride bicycles on the campground roads, and they are fairly nice and not all that wide, but they are in pretty good shape. And you'll see some video of Mackay riding his bike here in a few minutes. But it is a neat park, and it was beautiful. This little map gives you an idea of the topography of the campground, and it is pretty hilly, but we ended up having a beautiful site right at the top of the loop that we were on, not too far from the playground, bathhouse right there. Not too hard to get backed in. Most of the sites seem pretty well accessible. Once you're backed in and unhooked, then it's time to start unpacking. Maybe a little dancing involved. Mackay took it upon himself to ride around most of the campground trail, and I sped it up significantly because there's a lot.
Hey, pull over! Stop the car!
Friday, we decided to take a trip down to the Little White House. I believe it's Highway 190 that you jump on there near the park, and it goes most of the way. And it is a beautiful drive.
How did you get up there?
Located about 80 miles southwest of Atlanta, and the park itself only being about 22 minutes maybe from the Little White House. It gives you a good idea of things you can see around there on that mountain ridge. Some beautiful vistas on the way, and so even though it's a 22-minute drive, it's pretty. I came to the Little White House when I was a kid, but that was a long time ago, and things have certainly changed, especially the characters. They have a great museum there that talks a lot about President Roosevelt, who in 1924 made his way to that part of Georgia, and that had to do with the warm springs there and the health issues that he was having with polio. But it also ended up causing him to encounter rural Georgians and the struggles of the farmers and those who lived in the country without electricity, without modern convenience. President Roosevelt himself, coming from a very wealthy family, learned that not everyone had it like he did, and so that would end up shaping his perspective on what things could be done for people, whether you agree with it at all or not. It is a fascinating thing to learn about. The Little White House is little, but was an interesting thing to see and worth the cost for a good historic site museum.
Now look at, I say look at here!
And of course, Mackay was stunned to find a kitchen with no food in it. After the White House, we went to find the warm springs, if we could.
Under this big W.
They're in the midst of renovating the springs itself and hope to have it where you can swim there.
Under this big W.
Well, maybe not under a W, but it was easy enough to find in Warm Springs, Georgia itself. that's all that is there as far as water in Warm Springs. But still, you can go down there and touch the water, feel the temperature. It's not boiling, but it is nice compared to what you usually would encounter, especially this time of year. Well, we went to Franklin's for dinner, or lunch, as some people might call it. And of course, Micaiah, bewildered by everything.
The scumbag's alive. Or is it?
We then went to the Warm Springs National Fish Hatchery Aquarium, and well, it's something. It is free, and it is neat to see these grass carp there and this strange looking fish.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Well, back to the campground for a lazy afternoon, or maybe not so lazy. We decided to hike part of one of the trails there near the campground. So spent some time, thank you Evelyn for this shocking and otherwise unstable footage. Typical Georgia wintertime woods.
I had to come back. I know.
Here's a drive-by of the campground. And again, it's fairly well spread out. There are a couple of loops there near the lake, and those are kind of the prime spots most people tend to like. Some of these tent sites look fantastic. Have small pads, of course, for you to pitch your tent on. If you're into that sort of thing. Back across the lake and then to the left are the areas where the cabins are. And they have two different sets. Some that look a little more traditional, I'm guessing are older. And then some that are a little newer. Come back across the lake and they go past the main loops right before you get get sort of to the dump station and exit area, there's another loop. Some people love being back in here because it is more isolated, a little more, I guess, woodsy. But some people don't like that sort of thing, so take your pick if you can get the sights. All in all, though, a fairly nice little state park campground. Things have been so busy, we have not done a whole lot of camping over the last little season, but it was nice to get away. Oh, this is the more rustic loop at the very top of the campground, and it is a lot rougher as far as road goes, not paved, it is gravel, and there is power and water at each of these sites, but again, it's a little more rustic. Adventuresome. Needless to say, though, we're a little out of practice in all our camping skills, but it was nice to get away, and also out of practice in filming, and so that has lended to the more truck perspective that you have enjoyed for this video. I hope that you have. But again, we'll get back to it as we can. Got a lot of things coming up in a few months. Had a good night around the fire that night, and would end up heading out the next morning. Hope that you're all blessed. We'll talk to you again soon.
Bye-bye. Goodbye.